Firstly, too, something's going on with my power steering here. Let's see. I'm hearing this loud. Okay, we're under the vehicle here, and there's a lot of dampness going on under here. And look at this here. Now my power steering is leaking somewhere, but I don't know where yet. I'm seeing residue on lines that has nothing to do with power steering. And I noticed that my reservoir is getting low. And this is because the wind is blowing as I'm driving. I know it's blowing it back. I know it's blowing it back this way. So wherever it's coming from, it's getting blown by the air. So it's confusing me of where the leak is coming from. Okay. So I just filled this up yesterday. And this power steering fluid is not cheap. Not these days. Over 10 bucks for a small bottle. And I had this filled up. And as you can see, it's gone down. So I'm wondering if it's coming out of here, because I had all of this wiped off yesterday. And when is it coming out of here because of a bad or worn seal, perhaps, or this line coming out here is not tight, or just dried out and it's not sealing good. So we're gonna try those two first and see what happens. If it's still leaking, I'm gonna go to another phase, but I dried all of this off yesterday and it seems to be wet up in here, so I'm assuming it's not sealing good. So the search goes on. The wind, when I'm driving on the highway, like it's getting wet back toward the firewall. So wherever it's leaking, it's blowing back toward the firewall. That's going to explain why it's wet up in here. This area here, right under the brake master cylinder, it's wet. I wiped it all off. So I'm going to make a, I'm going to take an inner tube and hack this so to seal good. And I'm going to take this one off and bring it, I'm going to cut it and bring it forward and see if that's going to seal better. I'm going to take this clamp off and put the original clamp back on there. Maybe it'll tighten better. This is the original clamp here. So that's going to be my first phase to see if that's going to stop the leak. And we'll take it from there. And if something's going on with the pump, I have a brand new pump that I already have. So let's see what happens. And why would fluid be way up here if this is not leaking here? I'm doing an investigation. Diversity 2, trying to find out why. Trying to find out why I have a power steering leak and my power steering fluid is disappearing. The search goes on. I tightened up this hose yesterday down here. It's pretty tight. But sometimes, you know, I think I'm gonna cut this one too, just to make sure it's not that one also. So we're gonna cut this hose, push it forward. We're gonna cut this hose, push it forward, and take and make a better seal on the cat and see what happens. Stand by. I'm gonna take my little hacksaw blade, the only thing I got to get down here, and got room to trim this. I keep it straight as I can without cutting nothing else. Look at this hose. I'm cutting the wires on there because it's going to be still while I'm working, so took that route. Got that off. I'm going to take and wipe around there. Make sure that's nice and okay. Now I'll do with the hose here. I'm gonna get that a little straighter than what it is. Just trim it here. Make it a little slanted. Still don't look like I want it. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm not happy with that. We try to trim it with this now. Look like it made it worse. Let's try this here. Okay, that's a little better. Much better. All right, now. Okay, where did the clamp go? Way back here. Okay, we're gonna slide that back on. Wipe it off again. Slide that back on there. Nice and tight. And I need to take in. Yeah, I'm going to lose fluid with this one. It's at the bottom. I'll have to push it on there fast and look at it. Come straight. Oh, it's too much fluid. I thought for sure it was going to leak like crazy. Okay, we got that off. Get a little closer. I can get out being fuzzy. I think that's good enough. Way down here. Where would be it? Okay, got that off. Go ahead and wipe that. All right, let me look at the hose here. And this is slanted also. Let's straighten it up. I just need to go here. Let me go over here. Okay, let me straighten him out. Some heavy duty scissors. Needs to be a little bit straighter than that. Okay, let me get that. Looks like, let me get you over here. Not too bad. Straighten it out right here. Diversity 2. I have some bars leak. Power steering repair. High mileage. It's guaranteed to seal and stop leaks. Plus, we're going to test it out. Seems like something's coming from my rack and pinion. The seals may be weak or just old, but we're going to try this before we actually replace the rack and pinion, which is going to be probably between 300, 400, 500. It depends. I mean, this is just for parts, but this may buy me some time here. We're going to try it out. On the back it says here, to seal leaks, pour equal amounts of the two chambers to restore fluid level, to control stack, reduce noise and squeals, and smooth out hard and tight steering. It's called morning sickness, quote unquote morning sickness. The entire bottle should be used. Depending on the steering problem, results will either be immediate or noticeable within 2 days or 100 miles of driving. One bottle treats 2 to 3 quarts of fluid. Tip, if necessary, to prevent overfilling, drain or siphon some fluid from reservoir before using. In seriously damaged power steering system, a second treatment may be required. In this case, it is suggested that the power steering fluid be changed and a second application of power steering repair be added. That's what the back said. Okay, but we're going to try this out and see what happens. Lately, I drained my power steering and put some new power steering in. I tightened up the hoses. I cut the hoses and make sure they were nice and tight. And this afternoon, I heard this noise, and I thought, okay, I took my power steering cap off, and it was like empty to me from what I saw. But I purchased this a few days ago, and we're going to see if this is going to work or not. Stand by. Both of these open. I'll open one at a time here. Side one. Get the cap off here. I'm going to pour on one side and not the other. Pour on the other side in. See how much we got going on here. And we're going to drive around, see what happens. So we have a, I don't know if you can see that. This side poured more than that side. Just lost my cat. But I have some power steering repair here. Bars leak. I'm going to refill, but I want to locate where it's leaking at. So I'm going to be wasting my fluid. See if I can find it. Got my siphon tube here, got a clamp on it. I heard that works better. And to push it from here instead of squeezing it, it's going to work better. I can tighten both of these up with my socket wrench, but I got it on, so we got these two problems taken care of. Now I'm going to work on seeing if I can seal the bottom of this better somehow, so let's work on that. That ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to cut a hole through here, boo.
It's too hot out here.
It ain't hot.
And I thought you I should talk about my car. That's my car.
How you doing, young lady? All right.
Why you talking about my car? Why you talking about my car?
What car?
You said you talking about my car, next girl.
No, I said it looked like they're gonna throw paper on the floor.
That's me. I did. I've been shopping. Now, you say you buy stuff around us.
I thought you were talking about boo.
I've been shopping.
Okay.
Fat lady.
You like to add some good old, and he like that good old wine. His mother wouldn't be. I thought.
Let me try something here.
Popcorn.
He wants some wine.
I'd rather have a piece of inner tube. Let's see if this is going to work.
No way.
Yes, she didn't.
See if that's the problem.
Oh, that's the eagle up there.
Get that to clamp down.
Whoa.
Let's see if that does anything. But
Whoa.
huh?
Is a bird an eagle?
Nope. An eagle. He's distinct than the other birds. Okay, once I got everything reconnected, I couldn't find any rubber inner tube to put on my cap, so I just took some duct tape and made me around little gasket here over the opening. I can get some inner tube later, but I just want to know, will this stop the leakage? So I wiped everything back down with a rag with my two connectors off of this pump. Has two inlets. So I got everything cleaned off, and I wiped the bottom. So we're going to see what fluid appears next. So this is phase one of trying to locate a leak coming from my power steering area. So the diversity 2 moving right along. Troubleshooting. Noise. When I open this up and looked inside, can't really see there, but look like something's leaking. I don't know where it's leaking at. Something's just not right. Maybe it's up in here. It's wet up in here also. So let's see here. Just need to. I heard there was a power steering switch somewhere. See if I can locate it. Oh, that's from brake lines there. I'm gonna have to look around and find it. Anyway, my container here looks like my fluid leaked out. But I have some power steering repair here. Bars leak. I'm gonna refill, but I want to locate where it's leaking at. So I'm gonna be wasting my fluid. See if I can find it. Got my siphon tube here, got a clamp on it. I heard that works better. And to push it from here instead of squeezing it, it's going to work better. I'm looking at the fluid here. At first it was looking like a milkshake. I don't know what's going on here. Just gonna take some of this old stuff out. Stick it in this container. This pump, I have another pump. If I have any more in here, let's see. It's still coming out. It's leaking out, but I don't know where it's going. Diversity 2, I'm testing out this Bars power steering repair. Bars leak power steering repair, high mileage. It's the two-door action formula. Restores performance, reduces noise, and smooth out hard steering. Adds protection, stops leaks, reconditioning, rack and pinion. And it says here on the back how to use it. To seal leaks, pour equal amounts of the two chambers to restore fluid level. To control slack, reduce noise and squeals, and smooth out hard and tight steering. This is called morning sickness, quote unquote morning sickness. The entire bottle should be used, depending on the steering problem. Results will either be immediate or noticeable within 2 days or 100 miles of driving. One bottle treats 2 to 3 quarts of fluid. Tip: if necessary, to prevent overfilling, drain or siphon some fluid from reservoir before using. In seriously damaged power steering systems, a second treatment may be required. In this case, it is suggested that the power steering fluid be changed and a second application of power steering repair be added. So, I'm driving around seeing if this is going to work. And if not, then I'm going to have to replace my rack and pinion because I know the seals are leaking. And that's about $400 to $500 just to buy the part. Now, if I had someone to install it, it's going to be a mess. So, Diversity 2. I may be installing my rack and pinion. Let's go. You know, if you don't keep up with your vehicle, I keep repeating this, you know what I'm talking about. You can't stress it enough. When one thing happens, hit it right away. You say, why? Because you can't let stuff just auto problems stacking, and you can't let this stuff just go on and on and on and on. And one thing breaks, another thing breaks, and it just keep piling up, and you're in a dilemma. And if you have an older vehicle like mine, you know parts gonna wear out, and you have to take action right away. And that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing here. Taking action right away. And I discovered another leak. It's coming from one of the hoses. And I think one of my radiator hoses is worn. So I just added some antifreeze, and if it goes down, that's going to be my answer. But things happen, and you have to stay on it. Get around this traffic here. Okay, I'm on the expressway. I'm just driving around here, hoping this stuff kicks in when it's supposed to kick in, and just take care of the issue. Diversity 2. This is what I'm doing today. Okay? You can't get upset. I mean, that's life. You have to handle one problem at a time. If you can't, you don't let it stress you out. You just move on.